Hi everyone, I'm Adam Kahansky, Director of Business Development for North America at Broadsign, and I'm really excited to introduce the topic of automation to you all today. So from the day Broadsign launched as a company back in 2003 and launched our programmatic products in 2018, our goal was to continue building products and tools to help prop up out-of-home's share of wallet, keep up with industry trends, and give all of our customers the ability to simply make their lives easier. Year after year as a community, we discuss how we can challenge the Goliaths who scoop up the lion's share of advertisers' budgets. Globally, out-of-home revenues are growing, but in fact, our share of overall ad spend isn't. And really the question we have to ask ourselves in this channel is why. The idea of automation and technology that supports it is designed to meet the needs of what is a shrinking industry at the human level. I think we've seen that in overdrive this year. Consolidation is happening all over the world. AI is being introduced at a steady pace and in many facets of buying, planning, and execution. And now how out-of-home is bought and sold in Canada needs to change to meet that rapid pace. With that, I'd like to introduce my esteemed colleague, Gavin Lee, Senior Product Director at Broadsign, who has been the foreman of helping change that direction of out-of-home in Canada and around the world. So Gavin.
Hello everyone. Thank Adam for the introduction. My name's Gavin Lee. A bit like George, I'm a Brit, but I'm only here for 3 days for this event, so thank you very much for the welcome to your wonderful country and city. I've been at Broadsign for the last couple of years, after 25 years in out-of-home. Initially in planning and buying, but I've been developing products for the last 15 years of those. And the principal role of Broadsign, which really excited me in joining the company, is to solve, as Adam said, those big problems in out-of-home. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, the automation of all transactions and some work that we've been doing recently that we announced last week, and kind of want to talk through the structure of that and how we think that's going to solve some of the issues that we face in our medium today. So for this agenda, this session, I'm going to just give a bit of a context. A lot of it you know, and just trying to put it into context of the principles of what goes into what we think about when developing products. And I'm going to just touch on very high level the solution that we're bringing to market. And then I'm going to invite Daniel Mack from Talon, Canada, to discuss that opportunity, give us a perspective from a buyer, and try and answer some of the questions that I'm sure that you will have, proposing we will discuss the topic together. So I'll say our value proposition at Broadsign is really the end-to-end life cycle of out-of-home campaigns. So from buyers and media owners, and connecting that to really trying to grow our medium and make it much easier for advertisers to buy. And to put that into context, I think it's just really important to look at the wider trends of our medium, much of what we've touched on today, but why that's important from a developing product perspective. So more and more digital. Media continues to become more digital. I'm not talking about out-of-home, but generally media as well. The pure play digital, that $1 trillion of advertising spend globally, 72% of that is pure play digital and growing by another 5% over the next 5 years. You add in digital out-of-home and CCTV, that's 90% of spend is on digital. And as a media buyer, you then become expecting consistency across all channels. And there's a consistent data spine. You think out-of-home has to operate in the same way. And we have to think about how we make our medium connected in that way, whether it's data spine, whether it's data we use for planning and different areas. And that means everything becomes more addressable. You think about addressability, personalization, attention. We have to think about what that means for out-of-home. It leads to these optimization across channels, decision-making. We want to play in that market. How do we make sure that we have the right data spine to that, as Francois already talked about in terms of AI agents and models? If we don't have a structured data spine to our industry, that becomes much harder. We're not going to deliver the opportunity and that value gives us without the right structure to our data and an industry. And automation can really help bring that together. Naturally, it becomes more automated. That if you think about CTV or the big streaming networks, the big TV networks, they're either structuring or restructuring their organizations around programmatic buying. If you take Disney, for example, they announced at their upfronts, ironically, that 50% of their revenue through streaming this year is going to be programmatic, with an ambition to make that 100% over the next couple of years. And that's really the key cornerstone of the growth trajectories of connected TV and retail media, about really touching on that programmatic in terms of, and the reason for that is more advertisers. It's a long term, if you look at the growth of platforms, it's around how any small advertiser can buy into the medium very easily, whether they're a big, small independent, or big national or global advertiser or small independent, and making it very easy to purchase that media. Out-of-home isn't applicable to every advertiser, but it's a trend we need to be aware of. If you look at the top 100 advertisers globally, they now represent 10% less of total spend than they did 10 years ago. If you take the US market, 70% is either brand direct or smaller media agencies are buying the media. And that's just making the tail of people who want to buy our medium, or advertising generally, much longer. And we have to adapt to ensure that we can take opportunity for those advertisers wanting to spend in our medium. So what does that mean for out-of-home? What do we need to do more specifically from a technology perspective? We need to make out-of-home the easiest channel to purchase. The benefit of that is structured data, accessibility, reduce the cost to serve and purchase our medium, and have a structure that allows us to build AI on top of that. If we don't make it out-of-home easy, we're going to lose out in that race as more and more buyers are just used to digitalization of channels. But whilst we make it easier, we need to make sure we reinvest that time and human resources in making the medium more effective, ensure that we understand how our medium contributes to omnichannel strategies, make sure we're returning, whether that's mass branding, which is our strength, or hyperlocal activity. How does that play in part into other channels? And that, again, is very much about the structure of data and the consistency in the way that we represent our medium. So our strategy at Broadsign is to try and enable a solution. We announced it last week. It's called in advanced transactions. What we define as in advanced transactions is ability to buy media for a period of time in the future. Manage the discovery of inventory, the availability, book it, fulfill the content, and manage that campaign in the future, but through platforms that you are used to using. So we are trying to minimize the barriers to adoption and bring in the ability that's unique to out-of-home into a more programmatic way. So the objective is to enable buyers to check availability and book campaign types from the platform of their choice. But we've been very clear to think about and respect the conditions that are unique to out-of-home. The finite perishable inventory, location context, making sure you're delivering the right reach for campaigns, and ensure that that is available within the solution that we are delivering. So the solution is the ability for media owners, critically, to give permissions for demand-side platforms, be that a out-of-home specific platform, an omnichannel DSP, to buy guarantee campaigns, what we've called in advance, in addition to the campaigns, the non-guarantee campaigns that they're bidding on already. To start with, this is for digital. We have an ambition to bring that static towards the end of this year, but also the overarching ambition is to support the automation of all out-of-home transactions. And that really covers the whole life cycle of out-of-home campaigns. From a media owner, to start with, in the planning, you are setting the rules of what people can see, who can see it in the first place, what they book, how much they pay. You're setting the rules for buyers to discover your inventory. But as a buyer, it allows you to discover that inventory, request availability of automated response, the ability to plan and make decisions using the data that's right for you and your advertiser, meeting the brief that you've been set. As a media owner, you're in position, it's all transparent to you. You receive the same information you would receive if you're getting an email, a phone call, an RFP. It's not something that's happening to your inventory that you're not aware of, but you're not having to do the administrative work to answer that response. As you go through to the buy-in phase, as a media owner, you're able to allow the ability to reserve inventory, to book it all with the media owner's distinct permission to do that, and then book and manage amendments through to activation. So the leveraging what exists in creative submission, approval, automated scheduling, that's, again, all with the explicit permission of the media owner in terms of the content that's going to be displayed, but it shifts left that responsibility, give the advertiser the opportunity to be more involved in when they display those ads more relevant, and removing the ability to have to upload, download, schedule content that's much more automated in that manage. And then finally, completing that life cycle is reporting, a consistent structure in real-time proof of play and reporting of every campaign, be that bought in real time or in advance, in a consistent way that could be consumed into omnichannel reporting and other performance measure metrics that are important for that. But that's enough of me talking. I've outlined the solution. I'm going to invite Dan Mack, that many of you will know, to the stage to discuss what I've said, to challenge me, and also ask some of the questions I'm sure that you have. Welcome, Dan.
We worked together for 3 weeks on this, but I've heard him talk, but holy shit is he smart. So forgive me if this sounds like, why come computers? So we talk about like planning and discovery consolidation. So Gavin, I'm curious, of course a single validated source of truth and information, it frees up time to focus on strategy and client service, but what does this look like if only some vendors can actually execute in advance? Do we head back to a fragmented environment and a fragmented ecosystem?
Yeah, I'm not going to promise that it's going to be everything all at once, and this is a start, and it's an opportunity to move forward. And so we've tried to design this to reduce friction and leverage what exists. So that's both in the transactional framework that you use for programmatic, or what we've termed real-time buys, so that capabilities around planning and buying in one place. And a lot of the inventory will be there. Whether you can execute it in the way I've defined will depend on the ability for media owners to provide that data. Customers that use Broadsign platform, it will leverage that automatically from day one. That's what we manage, the availability for those customers. We can expose that inventory in the same way that they would be doing that internally. And it's over time. So if you've got the ability to plan, initially some of it might be executed in the way I've designed. Some of it maybe have to be done in a more standard way. But we intend for the collaboration and partnership with media owners is bring that all into one place. And we're working on initiatives throughout this year that will bring on inventory that isn't dependent on the Broadsign platform.
That's great. We talked a little bit about the availability to check inventory, make revisions. I've got some clients here and some friends from Talon. One of the biggest frustrations from agencies is that the turnaround from proposal to plan to contract is rarely quick enough to secure initial avails. We go round and round, and then we end up with disappointed clients. Dell's nodding her head. This happens on Sportsnet when we are planning based on what the score is at the end of the game tonight, and then changing the ad tomorrow. So how accurate and immediate will this solution be? Like, how do we avoid giving clients bad information when we need to be up to the date and snappy down to perhaps the minute?
Yeah. Well, look, again, it depends on how media owners want to approach this. The way we've designed it is for effectively the external platform to be requesting availability live in the same way a media owner would go into their internal system to check it. It's the same availability database. Some media owners are concerned about giving access to availability. We've again tried to design a system that you're only answering the question you're asked. You're not given a complete blanket availability. I'd net reference it to a hotel booking. I go on to Expedia, book a hotel room. I know the hotel room that I'm trying to book, is available. I don't know if there's 100 other site rooms available, or it's just that one, and that's the approach that we've taken. So again, depending on the way the media owners set up their availability engine, if it's default to Broadsign platform, it's answering that immediately.
Write that down. So I'm here to represent the agency, but I'm really here to represent the people. We've got a lot of friends in the room. They're on the sales side. So being able to reserve and transact in one platform, it's great, but the human element is still vital. Like, that's the beauty of this industry and the beauty of, being with the people here today in the room. Connections and relationships are still paramount in out-of-home for strategy, education, troubleshooting, client satisfaction. So what does the future look like for sellers with further tech consolidation and automation?
As I said in presentation, this is all about growth in the medium, and without being contrite about it, we want the humans to do the stuff that the machines can't do, and that's relationships, upselling, really selling the medium. Shift our approach, the human resource our industry, from what I would say we transact to the medium to selling it. If you think about, as I mentioned, the long tail in our medium, in advertising generally, if you think about the time it takes you to book a campaign, it's probably the same whether it's a $5,000 campaign or $500,000 campaign. And you've probably got 80% of your campaigns at that lower end, which means 80% of your time and work is spent on probably 15 to 20% of your revenue. We want to have a situation where we can shift and have businesses like yours and media owners to spend more time with advertisers to really understand what do they need out of the medium to benefit their organization. I'm sure you've got lots of examples at Talon where you've spent time with customers and you've seen a real benefit in terms of what more they spend and grow into the medium.
Yeah, of course, the connection is super important, all those conversations, the educational element. I think that's all still very, very important. And if what I'm hearing is right, I can just eventually speak to a computer, say 1 out of home, please, and then we're off to the golf course. So let's go with that. We heard it a little bit earlier. Of course, out of home is still a visual medium, and clients like seeing their ads. They like visiting their ads. Maybe they take selfies with them. So do you foresee the real world side of direct still being supported? Are we taking the full jump, the leap, as Francois said, or do we still have that tactical, physical, visual element that we can prove and give to operators, owners, stakeholders, et cetera?
Yeah, I think there's elements that will still maintain being manual and specific to what they need. But things like proof of play, did the ad play when it did? Is there webcams or screenshots of what played? That can be automated, and as long as it's consistent, you've got the right definition of an ID of a screen and how that relates to the delivery of that will be part of the solution. But there's always going to be a physical element. If you can digitalize it, absolutely you can bring it to one place. But our medium is human. It's out there, people out there, and we want to protect that. Like I said, we want to make sure that people are focused on the things that computers can't do, and that's the creativity and selling and really sort of upselling the medium.
Yeah, so it sort of speaks to the hybrid approach still being incredibly valuable, but taking this leap in digital is
and we're not going to solve it all overnight. I'd love to say we were, but it's going to take some time, and I think that it's really working on things that we can do, be realistic about that, and as we build out capabilities and have more adoption, things will naturally improve.
And I think that's important, that this is a real thing that's happening. It's not the sort of hypothetical, this could be theoretical idea. This is a real product that's coming to market.
We're live in markets already doing this, and so there's campaigns and Talon are part of that in that market. So this isn't something that is coming in a year's time. We are doing it now, and we want to bring it to this market as a next step.
Pressure's on. So last for me, Gavin, just a little bit about reporting, performance, reconciliation, all that kind of the tail end of the campaign here. Collating information from several sources, it's very manual and time consuming. A single source allows for more day-to-day visibility of issues and an easy way of reconciling campaigns and reporting back to clients. So how far do you see this solution taking us? Do we foresee measurement and study results all living in a single platform eventually as well? Is this kind of a do-all, be-all, take it from start to finish thing? Where do you see that living?
Yeah, we're trying to make it as an open ecosystem as possible, leveraging what exists. If you think about things like proof of play and the performance of that's baked into the solution as a default. But if you think about data that you want to use to apply to planning or reporting, if you've got the structured data, you shouldn't be confined to a specific platform. It should be able to be merged or pushed upstream into another measurement. What we're really focusing on is creating a consistent spine in both the transactional approach that leads to other opportunities. It shouldn't be restricted to only operate in one platform or one way.
All right, so we're not holding a gun to anyone here,
no,
but we're still going to be collaborative and put things together. So
Absolutely.
That's great. Thanks, Gavin.
Thank you. And I think that's hopefully we've demonstrated some of the solutions, some of the questions I'm sure Daniel's raised that you have. I'll be around for the rest of the afternoon if you've got any questions to me or any of the Broadsign team, please come and ask. But thank you, Daniel, for your contribution, and thank you very much.
Well done, Daniel. Fabulous.